Good evening, everybody. Draft for Upside, back at our 8 o'clock time slot. Crack me a beer because it's a beautiful thing. Oh, yeah. Broadcasting from Washington, D.C. and Michigan from our bedrooms, I am Johnny Danger. With me is Christopher Emmerich. How are you, my friend?
A little sleepy, sleep deprived.
All right, not our bedrooms, but might as well be.
That's where I'm going after this.
Right? I like it. So sleep deprived, my friend. Obviously, football's wrapping up. We're probably going to be getting into some esports, some PGA, some other things. But esports kind of like preseason is like full blast right now, right? And I tried, man. I was up. I had the heartburn. I had the insomnia. I wasn't making it. So I tried to stay up and play some esports with you. I put a lineup in. Of course, it's dangerous, just like preseason with the swap outs of rosters right away, and there was a swap out, and I'm still confused why they don't allow late swaps for esports.
Yeah, no, I don't know why they don't do it for CSGO. I don't know why they don't do it for League of Legends. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I think you can get some. I think the same reason that you would late swap in football to get advantages and leverages depending on where you are. Like, if you had a chalky team, there are just different ways that you can do it, even outside of these type of situations where, the biggest thing that happened was the second most popular team on the slate last night in it's kind of like preseason, like you said. It's an unofficial tournament for the Korean teams. Some teams take it seriously, some teams don't. But one team registered 10 people. That's the most that you can have. And they basically put out their first lineup, and it was a little bit different than what people thought, but that was okay. And then halfway through the second game, they were playing the third game. Their roster came out, and it was 4 different guys and just one of the same guys from earlier. So this team that was the second most popular team now is only going to accumulate points for basically their guys half the slate, 1 game each, whereas everybody else is playing 2 games. So put you at a severe disadvantage. There were some other swaps too. I had a couple guys that swapped. Your lineup had a guy that was announced really late that he wasn't going to be playing. I think had you stayed up maybe another 20 minutes, you would have been able to get the right guy in, but it wouldn't have mattered because that team went 0-2 anyway.
Yeah, at the end, it didn't matter. Yeah, it was kind of a dog night, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was. Man, if T1 could have won in convincing fashion in their last game, even your lineup may have had some semblance of hope of at least cashing. But, the Mega Chalk went down and went 1-1. The secondary Chalk only played half a game, basically. And then the third most popular team, they went 0-2. I had a couple lineups. I finished 9th in the big GPP. Apparently, it was a rather duplicated lineup because I went from 9th to 129th. So 120 of my friends and me shared 9th through 128th spot, which got me $44 for that spot, which wasn't good enough. Unfortunately, the showdown slate for the 5th game was not a larger prize pool because it took 3rd and 5th in that one. Certainly probably would have been a little different if there were more entries. But overall, it is what it is. We learn. We move forward. We've got another slate tonight. We got one after that, maybe 2 tomorrow. Not really sure.
I like it. Well, if you're interested in the esports, guys, after football's over, we will be doing some broadcasts, maybe live, maybe just recorded and sent out. But we'll be doing esports content over at fantasysportsblueprint.com, or I guess it's fantasyfootballblueprint.com right now, hopefully changing up here shortly. Chris has been writing articles every day for the esports. Go check it out over there. And just want to let everyone know that if you head over there right now, we have a special offer going on. For $27, you can buy the patented draft cheat sheet for the 2021 NFL season for your season-long team. Get a leg up on your competition. And for that $27 with promo code D4U, you will get the rest of the year's DFS content, including Chris's esports content, if you want to get into LOL and whatever else he's going to get into this year. But definitely check that out. And now we're going to get back into NFL. We do have a comment already. Fan of the show here, Jeremy Allen's been becoming a regular here every week. He popped in some questions last week. We were talking about Zeke and how none of us trusted him. And then right after we signed off on Sunday morning, they announced Zeke was out. I responded to him in the chat room and said, absolutely, Pollard it up. And, man, did Pollard do well, man, didn't he, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, that was – and I think your other guy you were looking at was Jeff Wilson Jr., and I think he almost got in the end zone, or did he get in the end zone? I don't remember. It didn't matter.
Well, Mostert got hurt again, so Wilson put up some numbers.
Yeah, and I remember that part of it, and I'd hope that you probably got Pollard or saw that. Pollard saved me. I mean, I had a really good week. It wasn't fantastic, but it was a good week, super profitable, 50% ROI. And I think in the large part that was because of Pollard, and I was able to get off of some other guys that I would have otherwise been on, like, Cam Akers.
Right? I told you, man. I just knew he was going to fall on his face. I didn't have anything to back it up. Gut feeling's been.
So whatever happened to your gut lineup? I got a little tipsy on Saturday. It looked like I sent you $50 to put into a gut lineup. I'm guessing that didn't work.
Well, I mean, it didn't work. Let's just say that it didn't work. But
you didn't play Pollard. That was your problem.
I didn't play Pollard. I almost put him in there, but I did. It wasn't Jalen Hurts lineup though. So I mean, it had potential. It just, we can look at it later if you want.
It was strange for me at the end because I had, most of my lineups, I had 20 of them, and a lot of them had Ryan Tannehill stacks. A lot of them were with Corey Davis, running it back with Marvin Jones, and regrettably, I had a fair amount with TJ Hawkinson. But, some of my lineups that I had that were threatening that were like Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey stacks, or Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek stacks. And then I had a Jalen Hurts. I had Miles Sanders. And it was just like, I don't know what to root for right now. Like, I'm happy. Like, let's end the games. Like, I was going from 80% ROI to 30% to breaking even. I'm like, man, I don't know if this touchdown, what it's going to do. And I think I had a lot of Alvin Kamara. And finally, like we talked about on the show, I thought his floor was kind of that 18-19 spot, which he did get to. And, like I said,
it was scary for a minute, though. So he got that late touchdown.
Yeah, it was. I mean, my best lineup was a Ryan Tannehill, Corey Davis, Marvin Jones. That was just, it fell apart. I had Mark Andrews and Cole Kmet, and then Patriots defense and T.Y. Hilton were the mistakes there, but everything else just was rolling. At one point, I was pretty far into the day, and I was in 6th place in the Millie Maker. So I started thinking about that, but that quickly faded.
The Patriots D looked great until about just before halftime, and then it all just fell apart for them.
Yeah.
Well, it was worth a shot. But Pollard, man, I mean, Jeremy, after talking to you, and as soon as that news broke, I picked him up and put him on my bench because I had other options that I liked more. But I did get a message from the guy I was playing in the semifinals that he had just was in the process of clicking it when I beat him to it, and he would have played him against me, and it would have probably not beat me. I had a really good week. But I did get him on my bench and get him out of the way. So the question is, Chris, is Zeke playing this week? Do you think he's fine? Is Pollard the better play anyways? I mean, it seems to me the few times Pollard's been featured over the last few years, he's been better than Zeke.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of decisions that people have to make if you're in the championship. I play Pollard over Zeke. Zeke hasn't been good this season. So again, like we talked about on the show, I just don't think he cares. I wouldn't.
He got that paycheck, and now he's just trying not to get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe he is a little banged up, and like, what does he have to play for at this point?
Sure.
And certainly, what do they have to play him for? I would rather play Pollard if I was the team. He's looked better, got less money invested in him. I think that's a good route to go. So I mean,
even in the weird route that I don't like. I always have a problem with the NFL because I don't think that they leverage these guys like they should. Like these teams just hold and hold and hold and hold, but showcase the dude the last 2 weeks and then shop him in the offseason for some draft picks even.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to make it into the finals in my biggest money league, and I was pretty, on the back of Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods even came through for me. But the big challenge that I have is that James Robinson is my secondary running back. The guys.
Well, why don't you pull that up? Can you pull that up? Let's take a look at next week because I want to do the same on my team.
Yeah, hang on.
While we're thinking about that, I'll pull mine up. But yeah, man, I mean, it is championship week. If anybody has any questions out there, I hope that they are welcome to ask. We're glad to help.
I mean, so I have here, I'm going to pull this up, but I have Damian Harris. I have Zach Moss. I have Mike Davis. Those are all not, great situations. James Robinson's playing the Bears, I believe. Do you go out and there's not a lot of guys on the waiver wire that I can get? Do you go get a guy like Lynn Bowden, who we talked about had a bunch of targets, but he's running back eligible?
Just kidding.
or a Salvin Ahmed is the other guy. So I have the two.
Ahmed has looked good, though. I mean, Ahmed's a guy I want to talk about his potential for next year. I mean, he looked good before he got hurt.
Yeah, I mean that's the guy that I'm targeting. I mean, I don't know what's going to go on with James Robinson, and I don't feel safe with a guy like Mike Davis going into the title and Zach Moss. I mean, hopefully they run Zach Moss. I mean, it's just what kind of situation do you have with this? So, I don't want to go too in depth into my specific team because I find it incredibly boring listening to other people talk about their teams. We can talk about situations that might apply to some other people, but that's a situation. If you have James Robinson, I think it's a good chance that if you have James Robinson, you could be in the title, because if you have James Robinson, it probably means that you waited to draft running backs. You picked him up late on waivers. You plugged him in. He's been great all season. And so you probably have some good wide receivers. In fact, this was a team where I waited a long time to get a running back because I had Derrick Henry with the first overall pick. It was a keeper league. And so I went wide receiver heavy. And by the time I decided to get around to running backs, there just wasn't much there. So I don't know. The other thing that I think people have to consider at this point was, if you have the opportunity to play a guy like Logan Thomas, what does this Dwayne Haskins stripper COVID protocol situation have to do? I mean, they seem to have some type of connection last week where he just killed it. I wish I had more Logan Thomas in my lineups and for DFS, and I had a fair amount, but he did better than I could have ever imagined. It was everything that we've been talking him up and hoping and waiting for all season long.
I mean, he's really been making us proud for the last month. Solid, man. Absolutely tearing it up. Who is the backup to Haskins in case he gets sent back, COVID reasons?
There's Alex Smith if he comes out and plays. And if it's not Alex Smith, then I know the emergency quarterback, I think, is Logan Thomas.
Yeah, I like that. That'd be awesome. Have another Taysom Hill situation. That'd be hilarious.
It would actually. That would be really good, especially because he's on my championship team.
That's funny. Oops, clicked the wrong button there. Just trying to get rid of that thing. Here we go. All right. Well, let's just take a quick gander here. So what I'm going to come up with next week is I don't know if Julio Jones is going to play. He says he wants to play. A lot of rumors say they're going to shut him down. What do you think about Julio Jones next week? Is he going to play?
I mean, I don't know if he is or if he isn't, but we'll just have to monitor it. I mean, if you have a guy like Calvin Ridley, my lineup does. I'm hoping that he doesn't play. But in some regard, maybe I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I've got Russell Gage to back him up, and he has filled in fine. But yeah, I have James Robinson and I have Julio Jones, both with big question marks going in this week. Luckily, I do have David Montgomery that I can slap up there, and then I've got David Johnson. I could still play in the flex. I actually picked up George Kittle. Somebody dropped him like 3 weeks ago, just like flat out dropped him. And I was like, well, I have a team that could make the championship, so I'm just going to pick up Kittle and sit on him. And now it looks like he might play this week. Would you start Waller and then Kittle in the flex should Kittle play? Or would you stick with a like David Johnson or Mike Davis should CMC not play?
I mean, I guess, well, you have to make that decision pretty early. That's the problem, is because San Francisco's playing on Saturday at 4:30. Yeah. I mean, and Kittle is just one of those guys that he's completely boom or bust. He's fantastic to have in your lineup like 4 or 5 times out of the year. And then the other 8 or 9, he's just not even there. Those 4 or 5 make up for the other ones, and he gets this large accumulation of fantasy points because he just drops bombs, but he drops some duds too. So I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I mean, I guess what you're getting with David Johnson, and it's not a lot. I mean, he had a breakout game last week, but going to be playing Cincinnati this week. So I think David Johnson's certainly a playable guy that most people are not considering because I think most people that have David Johnson have long since been eliminated.
No, except for me. I've got him. Waiting for him. All right, man. Well, let's get into the weird schedule this week. It is a Christmas schedule. There is no Thursday night game, but there is a Friday night game, Christmas Day at 4:30 in the afternoon. I'm pretty excited about this because my secondary team is the Minnesota Vikings. Heading into New Orleans to play. It's a 52-point total. It's a 7-point favorite for the Saints. Interesting game. I mean, I definitely going to play a little action on this game. It's going to be Christmas Day, and I want to distract myself after all the day's celebrations. It'll be on TV. My in-laws will probably be popping by around then, and it's always nice to have the football on to talk to the father-in-law about. So are you excited for this game? You thought Breeze maybe looked like he was still hurt out there.
I don't know, man. Like, what do you do with this? I don't know. I got a bunch of free tickets for the NBA game on DraftKings, so I'll probably play that as opposed to the showdown. I mean, what do you do? I mean, there are some obvious places here. I mean, I think Justin Jefferson and Alvin Kamara are the two obvious plays. Dalvin Cook being the third obvious play. So you put one of those guys in your captain and try and get all three of them in as reasonably as you can. Jared Cook is a viable player on that team. So is Irv Smith on the other side of things. You don't want two tight ends. I don't know. New Orleans putting up 30 points. They had a hard time doing that last week, and I think it was only a byproduct of the Chiefs kind of allowing them to do so and letting them get back into that game. I don't think Minnesota's defense is all that much different than the Chiefs at this point. You know, they were a defense that was vastly abused earlier in the season, and now they've kind of normalized outside of David Montgomery just destroying them. The challenge I have is, like, what kind of usage is Alvin Kamara going to get? Like, why does Sean Payton hate fantasy owners so much? I think it's just because he hates fantasy owners. I really do. This guy got 3 targets or 6 targets last week. It's just, why isn't he getting 9, 10, 12 targets when he's the only part of the offense that's really working?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I mean, the Vikings don't have anything to play for. I think they are officially ruled out of contention. Are they not?
No, I think if they win out, Chicago loses. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, they can't win the division. The division's locked up. That's over. And Washington or Philly is going to get in with like a 6-10 record.
No, it's Washington or the Giants, I think. I don't think.
Yeah, something like that. And then I think the Rams are the ones sitting in the last spot at the moment. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't see him beating New Orleans in New Orleans, so I think the point is moot anyways. Could be a fun game, though. Sometimes teams kind of unload when the pressure is off. So, yeah.
No, they're on the bubble. I mean, they're 7-7. The Bears are.
No, they're 6-8.
They're 6-8.
Oh,
This is the. I don't know why this hasn't updated. This is from last week. Okay. It was on NFL.com.
I don't know. I'm staring at it right now.
No, I know. I understand. They were saying that they were playing. Yeah, no. It's incorrect.
Yeah. Yeah, they're out. I don't think they got. I mean, maybe if the Rams lose out and they win out, and a couple other teams lose out. I mean, maybe. But
yeah, no. They're still there. They could go 8-8. Chicago goes 7-9. I don't know what kind of tiebreaker they have over a team like Arizona. So I think Arizona is the only team that they can jump, because best case they'd go 8-8. Arizona's 8-6 right now. If they lose 2 games, they could both feasibly be 8-8. And I'm guessing the fact that they don't show them as eliminated yet is an indication that they hold the tiebreaker or have a possibility of winning the tiebreaker.
I guess so. I mean, I just don't see it happening. Who are they playing last week? Let me take a look. They're playing. Well, I guess they're playing the Lions last week. So they can get by New Orleans here.
Sure.
Well, who knows? Okay, might eat those words. My dad would be very disappointed in me if he's listening.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge is that Chicago, I think, is playing Jacksonville, so Chicago should have a path to getting a 8th win, and I believe they hold the tiebreaker over Minnesota. So, I don't know. We'll see.
All right, well, let's just move on to the next game then.
Sure.
We're going to talk about Tampa Bay heading to Detroit. Tampa is 8-point favorites. The total is 53.5. It's a Saturday 1:00 game. Are you going to play this 3-game slate? Because we're degenerates. We're probably going to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, 3-game slates are my favorite, so definitely going to play this. I think that there's some pretty chalky options in terms of where people are going to go, and those are sometimes the options that you want to get out of. Kyler Murray's probably going to be your most popular quarterback, followed by like a Tom Brady, but Matt Stafford certainly is viable. Marcus Mariota looked just fine last week. He obviously doesn't need to throw the ball to do what you need him to do at 5K. So, yeah.
All right, Mark, our resident Lions expert has joined the show. Welcome, Brewery Mark. Do you have a beer?
I have a cider.
Yeah, good enough.
I
like it.
Blake's caramel apple.
Oh, very sweet tooth of you, sir. I like it. We were talking about Tampa Bay heading to Detroit on Saturday, day after Christmas. Are you excited for this game?
No.
I mean, you had some quiet optimism about the Darrell Bevell age. Has it worn off, or you just don't care? The season is gone, and you're just ready to move on.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing better under Bevell, but they're still not a good team. They still lack a ton of talent. So, I'm ready to move on.
Fair enough. Do you have any insight on this game for the 3-game slate? Are you interested in it?
Oh, sure. The problem is playing, which receiver you're going to play, because Brady spreads the ball all over the place. Do we know who's running? Is Ronald Jones going to play, or is it going to be Fournette?
I haven't heard any news, but I also haven't looked for any news on that.
I think it's going to be Ronald Jones. I think he's going to come off of it. I don't think he was actually positive for COVID. I think he was just on a contingency list. So, yeah, I mean, he's at $6K for the 3-game. Leonard Fournette's at 5,500. I probably don't want any of – even if Jones is out, I'm not sure that I want Fournette at 5,500. He was playable at 42 because it was almost like he could back his way into 12 points, which he literally did. He backed his way into the end zone for his first touchdown and ended up getting there towards the end of the game. But even against Detroit – I'm not interested in Leonard Fournette at 5,500. I get it. It's a 3-game slate. You got to be different. But I think that's where people would go. And that's one of those things that you can differentiate yourself. And I think there's a high probability of failure. As such, I would get away from that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I would look at Ronald Jones will probably have a big game here, but there's probably better, like Chris was saying, there's better running backs to play. On the Detroit side, DeAndre Swift, they're gonna give him the ball and see what he can do, see if he continues this hot streak. Marvin Jones lucked out with a touchdown last week. Other than that, the passing game's been kind of just okay. So if I was going to play anybody, it'd be running backs in this game.
I mean, I wouldn't say that he lucked out. He had 12 targets and caught 10 balls for 112 yards. I mean, he had a monster game.
Yeah, no, he had a really good game.
The challenge with Swift, though, is you are hoping that he gets that massive opportunity, because if there is one thing that Tampa Bay has done well, it's stop the run or limiting production in terms of fantasy running backs. And, we talked about it in our group chat, so we can talk about it here. I will take opportunity over a defensive matchup anytime, but Swift's not getting 20 to 30 carries. He's just not. You're really relying on the Lions being able to get, within that 5-yard of the end zone, and then they're going to give the ball to Swift. I think that you can feel pretty safe in that. They were giving it to Peterson. It wasn't working. They gave it to Swift, and they went back to him even after he fumbled. So I think that's a pretty good sign moving forward that he's kind of going to have that role, for the last 2 games.
Yep.
Fair enough. All right, moving on to the next game. We have got the San Francisco 49ers heading to Arizona, or staying in Arizona, their temporary home. So it's a home game. Arizona Cardinals are favored by 4, 53.5 total. This is the 4:30 game on Saturday. Obviously, I'm more interested in this game just out of pure 49ers fandom. We were just talking about it. Will Kittle play? Will he won't play? I think that he can be effective against Arizona. I think if he is suiting up and playing after that injury in a season where they cannot possibly make the playoffs, then he's good to go. So I am willing to play him if he's ready to play in my championship game if I need him. And probably DFS-wise, too, depending on where his salary has worked out. I haven't actually looked at the salaries for the 3-game slate. But
he's
if it's
actually 5,000, so I mean he's 2,000 less than Waller for the 3-game slate. I mean he's only 400 more than TJ Hawkinson, so they are making it pretty difficult not to play him, even despite his boom bust profile coming off of injury.
I like him. I mean, when he's in the game over there, he's generally speaking the number one target for San Francisco. We'll see how that shakes out with the way that our boss man, Brandon Ayuk, has been playing. But I think it's CJ Beathard at quarterback, so that messes things up a little bit. He's not quite as talented as Mullins has been, which really isn't saying much.
Yeah, I mean, Beathard isn't going to turn over the ball as much. That's the only thing.
Sure. I think Mostert is probably going to miss the game. So you got a Jeff Wilson possibility, but he's a little dinged up too. But that's probably just a day off. They do a lot. On the other side of the ball, man, I mean, San Francisco really hasn't been great. They keep losing players. They're okay in the secondary. They're pretty good against the run, but Arizona needs to win some games. So this is go time. If I'm going to take one more shot at Kyler, I mean, I'm probably going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, and Kyler has a pretty good track record against San Francisco, even when that defense was something to be afraid of. Kyler's had great games against them. I rail on some of the chalky plays that Jake Kizzard or however you say his name has been able to pull off in the seasonal league for our DFS purposes, and it looks like he is going to win at this point, barring some crazy scores. It's not unreasonable to believe that it could.
I think he's 140 points up.
I don't think he's 140 points up.
He is. He is 140 points up.
It's still possible. Okay, it's still possible. it's very improbable, but
in fact, let me pull that up. I'm gonna look at that.
Playing Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, it was an interesting play last week. I mean, Kyler Murray was number one in my model, but I kind of ignored it just because he wasn't putting up those numbers. He wasn't running the ball. And quite frankly, he didn't run the ball all that much this past week. He did get in for a touchdown. Just didn't put up a lot of those yards, but that game just went back and forth, and neither of those defenses seemed like they wanted to stop the other quarterback. 406 yards accounts for 4 total touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, Kyler had a great game.
Yes, G Zacket, or however he pronounces his DK handle, is 141.26 points ahead of you.
Look, man, it can happen. I've put up 100 plus 80 points in a week, and I've had weeks where I put less than 110, and so have many people. So, just need to have 2 of those back to back. That's all.
It could happen, is what you're saying. You're saying there's a chance.
Well, right. If you look at the lineup that I put in last week, I put it in a really strange lineup that almost pulled it off until that game kind of just blew up. But that was not my best lineup. I didn't expect it. I wanted to play guys that I thought would be less owned in the group because I wanted the opportunity to differentiate. Had I put in some of my best lineups, I would have crushed it. But again, I was playing Jonathan Taylor, Leonard Fournette, and I was super hungover when I was putting it together. So I, like you, had Leonard Fournette in my flex, despite having, I think, Miles Sanders. So it was Leonard Fournette, Miles Sanders, and Jonathan Taylor. It's not the lineup I would have put in a normal 20-man contest.
Yeah. All right. I mean, Mark, is there any other plays here? I mean, I'm all on board the Kyler to D-Hop train. I think for the 3-game slate, it's almost too obvious that it's hard to even fade.
Yeah, I like it. I like playing Kyler here. He's running the ball more. seems to be passing better. I think you could also go down to Christian Kirk as a good secondary play. And
I mean, Kirk for the last couple of years really has had a few of those opportunities at those 35-point-plus games. He's been very down lately, maybe due to, Kyler just not throwing it with the bummed-up shoulder for a couple of weeks, maybe just because they haven't needed to. I don't know. But he's always worth it. Usually he's in that price range where if he does hit 30 points for, $5,000, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the guy that I think is the really interesting play here is going to be Marcus Mariota at 5,000. I mean, I think a lot of people will go to Kyler. Like I said, I think Tom Brady will be the second highest owned, and then I think third right there is Marcus Mariota. So actually, you know what? I'm going to change that. I think he's going to have some popularity. I think Stafford's kind of the play here. When we're talking about these guys, I think Stafford can put up a score just as high as any of these other guys. It's not probable that it'll happen, but seems to have a decent floor. Pair him up with TJ Hawkinson, who absolutely sucked last week. That's the way I'd go.
Yeah, other than last week, though, I mean, TJ's been pretty consistent this year. So.
Yeah, I think you just want to play to those. I mean, if you look at Tampa Bay's defense, they've given up some massive games to wide receivers recently. 60 points to the Falcons, 80 to the Chiefs, 76 to the Rams. Now, granted, the context is that those are better wide receiving cores than what the Lions have, but conversely, tight ends, they gave up 26 points to the Saints, and that's was that? I'm trying to remember if that was because Taysom Hill counted as a tight end. I'm not sure. No, it's the DK, but they gave up 16, 25, 17, and 12 the last 4 weeks. So, I think that's all playable. Here we are just babbling on about this 3-game slate. So
we like the 3-game slates, though. It's okay, man. I mean, that's you hit a big win this year for yourself and the team, and so they're important.
And it was when San Francisco played Arizona, as a matter of fact.
Right? I mean, let's get on it again, brother. Come on now. Let's do it. I got one.
And Kittle got hurt in that. Now he's coming back. Hopefully he gets hurt again. Man.
I got $1 in my account. I'm ready to ball. Ready for it. All right, let's move on, guys. One last game on the Saturday slate. We've got the Miami Dolphins, a 2.5-point favorite, heading out to Las Vegas. 47.5 total. It's the 8:15 game Saturday night. Mark, what do you think about this game, man? I mean, Tua, doing all right. Derek Carr.
Well, no, it's going to be Mariota, right?
Oh yeah, Mariota. My bad. Sorry, Mark. I still can't believe that dude that won the big money having Mariota in as the captain on that showdown. That was hilarious.
Just taking a flyer. Yeah.
Well, and what's funny is somebody else posted that they did it too. They just didn't win because they had the wrong people around them. And it's like, okay, well, you're an idiot. He's a time traveler. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, man, you can't win against the time travelers. Can't be done. And then there's that one guy like spouting off all these theories about how nobody had that till the third quarter and that FanDuel's got it rigged and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's crazy when a guy actually scores points in the third quarter, like, a variety of other things. Like, I don't know, when they count certain votes, for example, scores will change and shift,
Funny shit. Anyways, Chris, what do you think about this late night game Saturday to round out the 3-game slate?
It's probably the game that you want to target to be the most different. It certainly has just as large a possibility as a shootout as some of these other ones. The Las Vegas defense has been bad against just about everything. I mean, hell, they almost lost to the Jets. But to running backs in the last 5 weeks, 36 to the Chiefs, 23, 30, 46, 19. That's a spot I want to target. They're pretty average when it comes to wide receiver, and let's face it, the wide receiving core for the Dolphins is pretty average right now, banged up, and who knows, Parker looks like he might be back. But I'm interested in Salvin Ahmed. He's the guy that I'm probably going to lock into just about every lineup, unless Myles Gaskin is back, and he very well may be, and then that screws everything, especially my fantasy final that we talked about. But yeah, I mean, I like this game. I think you can go
sticking on the Aguilar train.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, he's been good.
Sure. Play any of these guys. I mean, it's a 3-game slate. Who cares?
Yeah, play it all. Play them all. 150 lineups. Let's do it.
10, 20, play different combos.
I like it, man. Any more thoughts on this game before we move into the Sunday games, Mark?
No, and Chris covered it pretty good. I like a mod here. Les Gaskin plays, obviously. I think people are going to be high on Mariota after last week, so he seems to be a fade to me. And Waller's always going to be high owned because he's the best tight end in the game right now. So I don't really see any really sneaky plays or anything in this game.
Mark, I like your black on black there. You got a floating head kind of vibe going on with the graphic over
and
the white on your shirt.
The floating Mando.
I like it. It's funny. It's funny around there. All right, let's keep moving, guys. I have got the Cleveland Browns heading to the New York Jets. We've got a 9-point favorite in the Browns who look to maybe win that division. And the over-under here at 46.5 for the first game of the main slate. Chris, are the Browns going to win that division?
I think so.
I think so too, man. I mean, I've been in love with them since I called their defeat of the Titans.
Look, what's going to happen is I think they're going to go in here. They're going to smash the Jets. The Jets have been competitive the last couple of weeks, but they've got that win out of the way. It's just not going to happen. The Browns are playing really well. Baker Mayfield has kind of taken a step up in his progression, and he's still not great, but he doesn't need to be, and he doesn't need to be this week. I don't care what you think about the Jets' defense against the run. Nick Chubb is going to come in, and he's going to probably put up 100 yards. Do I want to play him at 7,800? I mean, I think that's going to be a difficult decision to make. I haven't looked at the slate overall, but I am curious to see what kind of ownership he's going to command in this game. But Jarvis Landry, for sure, as long as the weather's good, he's a guy I want to play. But that's kind of where I'm at, man. And hell, I don't know. Maybe I do play Baker Mayfield. He's been on a couple million maker lineups. He's only 6K. Why not? Why not?
Why not, man?
Maybe what we can do is maybe I stay an extra day, and instead of the Gardner Minshew outfit, we can get mustaches and trench coats and look really depressed like the Baker Mayfield mustache picture at the press conference.
Well, I mean, I'm in. I know it, man. My wife's been begging me to trim this down, so it'd be a nice excuse.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what she has in mind. She's
right?
Like, oh yeah, exactly.
She was real happy with me going out in public with all you guys looking like an idiot. That was fun. Fun for us. It was good times. Mark, man, I mean, it looks like earlier in the year we had a lot of fun playing Chubb and Hunt in the same lineups. It seems like that probably has faded out, and Chubb is just kind of the man now. How about the wide receivers here? It looks like Rashad Higgins has really kind of been taking up some targets lately. Do you like any of the guys catching the ball? Cleveland.
Yeah. I mean, I see Cleveland kind of cleaning up in this game, and I think Higgins is playable, Landry is playable, and I love Chubb in this position. So it's just a matter of picking who's going to get those targets in this game, or is Baker going to spread it out? But I think this is a good place where you could do what's been winning all the big tournaments this year has been that running back wide receiver combo without the quarterback. So this might be a good place where you pair Chubb with Landry, or you pair Chubb with Higgins and go for it.
Yeah, and what I'll say is you don't want to play Chubb and Hunt are not guys that you play together in full slates. It's something
not full slates. Yeah. Not even really in showdowns lately either for that. We had fun with it that first time. That was a good time.
It's been in the winning lineup twice, man. 2 out of 3 times.
Like it. I'll love it. Let's keep moving. Let's head over to the other New York team, the New York Giants, heading to Baltimore Sunday at 1 p.m. My little app here does not have a spread for them yet. Got one? Sorry. I just went to look and it's just not there.
15 and a half.
15.5 Baltimore.
Yes,
that's a big one.
Wow. Yeah, I'm surprised it's that big.
That's a big one.
I've heard that before.
It looks like Colt McCoy is going to start another game, most likely here. Mark, do you like any of the Giants on this side? Is it just another like Lamar play by himself, play Lamar naked and move along?
Yeah. I'm not really excited about this game at all. I think I'm not excited about the Giants at all in this game against Baltimore's defense. I think you're right. I think it might be a play Lamar naked if you can. I mean, what's he priced at right now?
I mean, he's at 8,000. I think Daniel Jones is going to come back. I don't mind the, I don't mind the spread here. Just Baltimore has been coming on offensively, especially Lamar has been coming around and running the ball more and getting into the end zone and getting involved on the ground, basically taking it over to a degree. The Giants had a nice little stretch for a while, but man, they've looked bad offensively recently. Marquise Brown had a decent game, actually caught almost all of the targets, almost 100 yards.
Who?
Marquise Brown.
Hollywood?
Marquise.
Hollywood?
And then, you can play Mark Andrews. I mean, Evan Ingram, both relatively inexpensive. So, on the Giants side of things, when you're looking at these games, I think you look for one of those guys that is a lower owned guy that's going to get targets, not necessarily a guy that's going to score because they might not score. So like a Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram, but I'm not high on the New York offense, but I agree. Even at 8K mark, I think you'd agree that you can play a Lamar Jackson, especially when he's putting up 30 plus points.
Yeah, I like Lamar Jackson on his own here. That's a really nice play. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's go to Cincinnati. Heading over to Houston. Houston is a 9-point favorite, 46-point total. Another 1 o'clock main slate game here. Chris, start us off.
I think it's a get-right spot for Houston for Deshaun Watson. I think this is a spot where, you kind of coming off this win for Cincinnati against the Steelers that I don't know if it's as much about Cincinnati as it is how bad the Steelers have just been since that weird whole COVID situation where – they started talking all this smack. I mean, maybe they should have gotten a couple forfeits, but maybe they knew something that we didn't, that they were fraudulent. And I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can beat the Colts. So I'm just getting ahead of myself here. But yeah, I mean, Kiki Kute, Brandon Cooks, depending on what ownership is, Chad Hansen, all those guys. Maybe even Jordan Atkins. Let's give him the Logan Thomas treatment. Let's just keep playing him until he hits.
Yeah, but Logan Thomas doesn't drop touchdowns, though. That's the difference.
So what?
That's true. Got a question for you. As we're digging into the end of this season, a lot of people's seasonals are over, but there is, a last week to grab a couple of stashes in your dynasty or keeper leagues. Is Chad Hansen somebody you're interested in as, a last round kind of keeper on this team? I mean, he seems to really be clicking with Watson. If this team gets a little healthier, has a better offensive line next year, I mean, that's a potential huge weapon if you end up being the number one target that Watson throws to. Could he take over that spot?
I'm not interested, no.
You think he just falls far enough in the draft that you don't have to worry about him as a keeper if you want to take a flyer?
What?
I'm just curious, man. He's looked good.
As your keeper, like you. This is
looks good.
What do you have? Like,
I have a dynasty league where you keep
dynasty no league. You only have to play the guys that were on your lineup that you picked up in the last week. Why would you play Chad? Why would you pick up Chad Hansen? Come on, man.
Just curious.
Come on.
Hey, getting for nothing a guy who could be the number one target for Watson.
This is a serious show. We don't do any type of things here. Like that's a joke. It's a
very serious show. Very serious show. Very serious show. We just transitioned out of it, but yeah, we used to have a dynasty league where you kept your whole lineup, and all you did was you dropped 3 spots on your bench, and you drafted 3 rounds every year. That was it. There's a lot of full dynasty leagues out there, man. It happens. So it's just a question. It's just a question. Worth in consideration.
No.
I'm so mad at you. I'm just moving on. We're going to Chicago, and let me just do that.
Well, I don't think Chicago's playing the Jets.
They are not. I missed my thing up here. They're playing Jacksonville. Yes, there we go. See, you got me so flustered, I messed up my thing.
Well, while you're flustered, we have a question on YouTube if you want to answer it.
I will here. Hold on. Save, display, comments. All right, we've got a question here. Pick a flex, full PPR: Godwin, Gallman, Drake, T.Y. Hilton, Kittle, Mixon. Rodgers or Hurts at quarterback. Let's start at the quarterback. Rodgers or Hurts at quarterback in Week 16. See what we got here. I mean, Rodgers has made it for me. They're playing Texans. It's going to be a high-scoring game. It's the second to last game of the week. I like that late week hammer. So without even looking to see who Hurts is playing, it's Cowboys. So I guess, wow, yeah, I have to think about it. Still Rodgers for me. Rodgers for me against the Titans at the 8:20 game.
I prefer Hurts. In terms of the other part of it, full PPR, not interested in T.Y. Hilton. Probably going to go Godwin.
Yeah, I agree. I would go Godwin for the flex. Rodgers or Hurts. I lean Hurts.
Wrong. Both of you are wrong. Rodgers against the Titans. Two big teams playing to make sure they get that number 1 seed.
I think both of them are going to have big games. It's just Hurts gives you the running upside.
I like Rodgers. And then for the flex, yeah, I'm with you. Godwin for the flex for me. But if Kittle is 100% healthy and ready to go, it's hard to not at least consider him because I don't think he's coming back to play partial. He's either full go or not playing. You have to think about Kittle if he's back, but I like Godwin.
Yeah.
I like Godwin. Lou Landers has chimed in, friend of the show, friend of the family. He likes Rodgers versus Tennessee. He likes Godwin versus the Lions. So we're in a full 4-person agreement with Godwin's versus the Lions. Like it. All right, let me get that out of there. Let's see if I fixed my graphic. I did. Chicago, 7.5-point favorites heading to Jacksonville for a 47 over/under. I need James Robinson. I need it, Chris. I need James Robinson. I know you do too. Do you think he's going to play, man?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, don't break my heart. Don't go breaking my heart.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a game where you could quite possibly go back to David Montgomery even at 7,700.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about it. There's not a lot of options on the main slate here in this 10-game smorgasbord that we have. So I think Montgomery's kind of the play here. If he's going to be super high owned, I have a hard time going back to it, and I think he might. Jacksonville's been bad against running backs and some of these other defenses that we like to pick on, like, for example, Houston. You've got a guy like Giovanni Bernard who had his best game of the season on Monday night, and it's just not going to happen again. So, yeah, I mean, Montgomery's great in cash, but outside of that, there's maybe some Allen Robinson, but I don't know. Man.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to like Allen Robinson, Mark.
Yeah, I don't like anybody on Jacksonville's side, not even James Robinson, and he just hasn't been running very good this last few weeks. So I'm kind of going away from there. I think this is a sneaky Chicago stack, and Trubisky's only 5,700. So you could do Trubisky and Robinson and still stack up some of the higher end running backs or receivers. And I see a game where Trubisky could throw 3 touchdowns and easily make that 5,700 value.
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville's easy to target, so it wouldn't bother me at all. And I have Monty in that lineup I can play if I don't have Robinson. That makes me sad, but I can do it. Lou, always cracking me up. Anyways, anything else on this game before we move on? All right, moving on. Atlanta heading to KC. 10-point favorites are the Chiefs, 53.5 over/under, and this is their last 1:00 game on the slate here. I mean, Atlanta. I mean, how many times is Atlanta going to come out and look like they're going to dominate a game and then just completely fold and lose? It's probably not going to be this game. I can't see them looking like they're going to dominate this game.
They might come out the first drive and look like they're going to dominate.
Right. I mean, I think Julio Jones is going to sit. I think he's just kind of playing media bluster, saying that he wants to play. There's no reason for him to play. So I've got Gage in the season-long championship, so that's okay by me. Gage has been doing fine. Ridley is a complete target hog when he's not there. Kansas City is okay on defense, but you can definitely attack him. So Ridley's cool with me. But on the Kansas City side, I mean, they're getting so expensive, Chris, that it's just kind of hard to do anything besides one piece from them.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really need more than one piece. You're just going to try and either go Tyreek Hill or you're going to go over to Travis Kelce and just hope that they have that game. And they both came down to earth last week, and it was still a good game. I mean, Kelce had one of his worst games of the season, still put up 22 fantasy points. Not totally what you want at 8,500, but you're going to have to make some of those decisions this week. And depending on that ownership, and certainly, look, when he's 8,500, it makes it difficult to find some other spots, but you're not paying up for a Dalvin Cook. You're not paying up for a Derrick Henry. You're just going to have that money that's there. You might be paying up for a Christian McCaffrey. Seems really strange to me that you would do that. Like, it's strange that he would even be playing, is what I'm saying. So I don't know. I love all parts of this KC offense here.
Even Le'Veon Bell?
No, I guess I should have clarified.
Watch your mouth, man. Lou's listening. You got to be careful what you say here.
No interest in
his boy.
None.
That's his boy. Speaking of that, he's got a comment here. He says he wants to know what you think about his Mahomes, Kelce, Tyreek stack for $26K.
No, I'm not. You could. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's fine. It's just everything else that you put around it when you showed it to us that I thought was disgusting.
I love
like to put it in perspective. He had Alshon Jeffrey in that lineup. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the game on Sunday. I know, Mark, you were not feeling well, but Alshon Jeffrey had like a catch and run. He looked like Tom Brady, man. Like, he looked so bad running that ball.
Oh, that's funny. All right, let's see his lineup here. He had Mahomes, Le'Veon Bell, Gio Bernard, Tyreek Hill, Alshon Jeffrey, Jamison Crowder, Travis Kelce, and Hayden Hurst with the Bengals defense.
Yeah, that's not going to – no.
Don't do that.
I mean, play what you want. That's fine. Like, that's great. Like, I mean, something could happen. It's just –
dude, that's totally a Johnny Danger 10-cent lineup.
I mean, like, I don't know if it correlates well enough with itself to even think about what kind of upside and how frequently the upside will even hit. And even if it does, what kind of upside does that even have the capability outside of like some special universe of getting you where you need to get?
Mark, what do you like about this game?
Actually, I'm not a huge fan of this game. I mean, Kansas City is obviously going to score. Their players are going to score, but they're also high priced. You have to worry about them making value. I mean, maybe Mahomes for sure. If he loads up on one person like Tyreek Hill, goes to that 150 2-touchdown mark, he might pay off. But I just think it's a little risky to spend this much money on those Kansas City players when there's other players in better positions that'll get you more points for the value. And on Atlanta, I'm not a fan of Atlanta this year. I mean, they look good last week, but that's the first time they look good in 5 weeks, especially Matt Ryan. His ownership will probably go up because he had that 30-point week, but before that, he was in the teens for 4 or 5 weeks in a row. So, yeah, I'm not interested in many pieces here. I'm sure I'll have a sprinkling of Kelce in my 20 lineups, but that's about it.
I just think it's a situation where that Kansas City defense is not that good, and they kind of elevate other teams to their level. We know that Todd Gurley is not the starting running back anymore, so we are going to see Ito Smith as the lead back. And at 4K, that could be one of the more interesting plays. I'm curious to see how the ownership plays out for that. I mean, at 4K, Kansas City not good against the run. Ito Smith, if he's getting half the snaps and Brian Hill's getting the rest, hey, I'm good with it.
I can see it. All right, I lied. We do have one more 1 p.m. game to talk about. We've got the Indianapolis Colts heading to Pittsburgh, 45.5 over under. Indianapolis at 1.1 favor, minus 1.1. I don't know why that minus didn't come through, but minus 1.5 point favorite are the Colts. I mean, I kind of want to lock this in minus 1.5 for the Colts right now. I mean, Pittsburgh looks broken. They've got a lot of big pieces, Bud Dupree and a few other guys that just aren't there. Makes a lot of sense. When you look at the individual pieces on the line on both sides, they just look broke, man. I mean, is this a game you just pick the Colts and go, or was that a wake-up call for Pittsburgh and they stopped this 3-game slide?
No, I think this is an ugly game. Defense from Pittsburgh hasn't been as good, but they haven't been bad. It's just the offense has been really bad. Indianapolis's defense, on the other hand, was good at one point, but has been kind of struggling as of late. I don't know. I can see this as a spot where, from a leverage perspective, you've got all this recency bias. It is in Pittsburgh, and we can go back to this whole, Ben Roethlisberger is bad on the road. He's usually good on the road if it's in prime time, but he wasn't good last night. I like the Steelers as a GPP play here. I like it a lot. I don't think it's going to work out. I think Pittsburgh is very flawed, and they're going to lose their next 2 games. But if you want to leverage on a low-owned spot, man, this is a buy low spot for a Colts secondary that's been getting abused pretty regularly all year. They're kind of that bend but don't break. But I also like Jonathan Taylor on the other side of things. So I think there's honestly, this could be a fantasy shootout. We didn't think the Raiders and the Colts was going to be a fantasy shootout. We didn't think that the Packers and Colts was going to be a shootout. I don't think the Tennessee Titans and Colts was going to be a crazy shootout. Maybe we did. I don't know. I don't remember. But like those games were all high scoring. So I think that there is this belief, because we even discussed it, we talked about it, that these defenses are good and that they're not, it's going to be low scoring. And I don't know, man. This is a game stack. Let's do it.
I can get behind that, man. But I know what I can do right now. We just got through all the 1 o'clock games. So
no, we didn't. No, we didn't.
Time for another beverage. I didn't miss another one.
Yeah, you did.
Where?
You missed the Panthers and the Washington football team.
No, I did not. They're 405.
Oh, that's because they got moved. They're not moved.
That's right. They got moved, my friend.
Yeah, they got moved. That's not on my screen.
It's time to drink another one. I got a double dink juice from outside right here. Compliments of my boy Wes, who swung by my house for a garage beer a little while back. So I'm gonna drink that up. I got a double dry hopped Imperial India Pale Ale.
Nice.
Sexy beer right there.
Sounds delicious.
I like it. All right, let's take a quick break from these game slates. Let's go talk about another game we like to play on occasion. We are going to talk about prizepicks.com. Head over to prizepicks.com. Try out their new fantasy game, a game where there is no experts, there is no optimizers, there is no lineup builders. You are just looking at pure projections and choosing whether they are going to go over or under each player's projection. You pick 2, 3, 4, or 5 players, and you parlay them together and choose whether they will go over or under. And as you get them all right, you multiply the entry that you put in by a predetermined amount, depending on how many you pick. Makes sense to me. If you use promo code Blueprint, you get 100% deposit on your first deposit in there and a match up to the first $100 you put on. That's a real deposit. It is not a trickle down like FanDuel and DraftKings do. You can use all that $100 that first day on one big bet if you want. Let's take a quick look at what they have for the Friday game. We have got, Minnesota and New Orleans. We talked about it before Mark came on board. So, Mark, you'll be able to weigh in on this a little bit. How about Drew Brees, 20 points, over under? This is standard like DraftKings PPR scoring, by the way. 4-point touchdown for passing, 6 points for all the others. 20 points, Drew Brees.
I'm going to go under on Brees.
I kind of like the under. I think this is more of a run game for them. I don't know if it was one of us in the chat. I thought it was Chris, but maybe it wasn't. That said just Brees just didn't look right. Didn't quite look right. I like the under.
No, it actually felt like he forced Sean Payton to play him because Hill was doing so good, he wanted to get back in there.
He didn't want to lose a playoff start.
Yeah.
What do you think here, Chris?
Yeah, I'll take the under.
Yeah, I like that. How about on the other side, Kirk Cousins, 18. I think they're going to have to just let Dalvin Cook run the ball. So this is really close. I think if I'm actually playing in a prize picks competition, I'm leaving this one out. I'm probably not going to play it. If you force me, I want to say under again on 18, even though that's pretty low for a quarterback.
What was the line on this game?
It was like New Orleans by a touchdown. I have to go back.
Was it like? I guess I mean the over under.
52. New Orleans by a touchdown.
No, so pretty high scoring. 18 for Thielen or for Cousins.
Yeah, it's very low, and I know it's not going to be popular, and you're both probably going to say over, but I just feel like this is like a Cook runs the ball 28 times game. That's what I want to see.
It very well could be, but I think I will take the over.
I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, it's a gut feeling. It's a Johnny Danger gut feeling.
Well, then I want the under.
Right? Yeah. Dalvin Cook.
I'm doubling down on the over now.
You can if you want, man. You saw what happened to Akers last week. Just saying. Just saying. Dalvin Cook, 21. I like it over.
Under.
21?
Yeah. Well, he gets 12 from 2 touchdowns, so he's only got to get 9 more points.
I'm going to go under.
Boo on both of you. How about 21 and a half on Kamara? I like the over there too.
I'll take the over.
God, I'll take the over. It's going to be right around there.
All right. Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Let's look at them both together. 16 and a half for Jefferson, 15.8 for Thielen. What do you think, Chris?
I am going to go. What was it on Thielen?
15.8 on Thielen, 16.5 on Jefferson. I haven't had a chance to look at how New Orleans plays those two styles.
I'm taking the under on both.
Under on both. I agree with you since I want under 18 on Kirk. So
I'm going to go over on Thielen and under on Jefferson.
Fair enough. All right, let's look at the 3 guys together on New Orleans. Emmanuel Sanders at 13, Traquan Smith at 8, Jared Cook at 7. I kind of like Jared Cook at 7 here, going over. I like the under on Sanders at 13, and probably the under on Traquan Smith at 8. Mark?
Yeah, I agree. I think the only one I'll go over on is Cook.
Yeah, hard over on Cook. Like I don't know. Like you have to make decisions on this. We talked about it. Cook would be a smash one for me. I think a lot of these other guys are just where I have them median wise. So I'll take the under. I just think this is going to be a little lower scoring game than what they have it slated for. So I'm under on Sanders and I'm under on Smith.
I like it. If you think that it's that easy, and let me tell you, it is, go over to prizepicks.com, use promo code Blueprint for your first deposit and get 100% deposit match up to your first $100. Have fun, because I enjoy it. All right, gang, get on to the 4 o'clock game, shall we? Since you were such a rush, let's go ahead and go to Carolina at Washington. Washington favored by 2.5 points. 44 over-under. Seems pretty low.
Roster Logan Thomas. We've been playing him all year. He's finally paying off, so keep him rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I like Logan Thomas, even though we discussed the challenges. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be for the Washington football team. It looks like it's going to be Alex Smith. He's going to come back. I liked his production a little bit better with Dwayne Haskins. Hopefully, I mean, look, if Alex Smith gets hurt, he might, like as we said earlier, move into the quarterback position. So
that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a gun. He was quarterback. I think that. This is if Antonio Gibson is back, I have some interest in playing him. I don't have any interest in J.D. McKissick at 6,400. Even with Alex Smith back, kind of just downgrades this entire roster. This is not going to be a high scoring game for me. I just don't have a lot of pieces that I want. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, you could maybe pick one. if you wanted to play it, but I'm probably going to avoid this game. Washington's defense is something that I'm interested in. So to summarize, Antonio Gibson, Washington defense, that's it.
Logan Thomas.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because he's going to get quarterback points. Mark, I was having a discussion about my season-long championship defense. Is this a defense you can trust with Carolina without CMC? How bad they've been playing at home?
Yeah, I think it is. I like Washington's defense here.
Why couldn't you trust Washington's defense? They've been one of the best defenses all year.
That's championship. You got to second-guess everything.
No.
Everything.
Now's not the time.
Everything.
Keep rolling.
I don't have them. Somebody dropped them. I can pick them up. So that's good. That's good. All right, let's keep moving on. How about the Los Angeles Rams in an interdivisional game against the Seattle Seahawks? The Seahawks are favored by 2.5, which is crazy to me because the Rams are going to shut them down again. 47.5 is the total in this game. What do you think, Chris? Is my Rams going to earn it another time?
Hey, they might. I like the wide receivers in this game, both sides. DK Metcalf's a little expensive. So is Tyler Lockett. So is Robert Woods, and actually so is Cooper Kupp. But if Henderson's going to be the running back, and he is because Akers is out, I'm probably looking towards like a Cooper Kupp or a Josh Reynolds. Cooper Kupp, especially if they fall behind, he's the guy. So I like some pieces here. Both of these defenses have gotten better. Seattle's been putting more pressure on the quarterback, which doesn't bode well for Goff, and we know what kind of pressure the Rams can produce, and I think that they're gonna be pissed off that they lost last week, and they need this game. Quite frankly, this would, I think, put them in a tie for first place or put them in first place by themselves because they would have maybe a tiebreaker. I'm not sure. I know they're one game back. So, this is an important game for them. It's an important game for us, guys. Like, we need to have these ties first place. We need to have something for these teams to play for on week 17 so they're not playing a half of football and playing just like a garbage slate where like somehow Jake Delhomme somehow is starting for one of these teams. We already
this is a big game for the Rams. They're a game behind Seattle, but if they win, they won both games. They win the tiebreaker, they take first in the division. And depending on the final week, I mean, they could get a bye out of this. So the winner of this game could possibly get a bye. So this is a big, important game. I hope there's some fireworks. I like it. Mark, are you on board with this as well? I like the wide receivers, both sides. I think Cam Akers in the bounce back game could be all right.
Well, I don't like Akers, but I like the wide receivers in this game. Probably not going to play either quarterback. I'll probably avoid the running backs. Chris likes Henderson if he plays.
I don't.
Oh, you don't? I thought you said you did.
No, if he plays, I like the wide receivers a lot more. And so, I mean, he is.
Gotcha.
I just don't think he's going to be very effective running the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd stick with the wideouts in this game. 47.5. I don't know. I kind of think this might be an under here and might be a pretty tough fought game between these two teams. So we'll see. Goff doesn't traditionally play well on the road, and he's coming off a terrible performance last week. So we'll see if he can bounce back.
All right, fair enough. All right, we've got the last game on the main slate here. There we go. Philadelphia -1.5 heading to Dallas, 49.5 total. The last game on the main slate here. I mean, Dallas's offense has been looking pretty good the last couple weeks, and Pollard looked really good. I have been of the mind that they should just be starting Pollard and have Zeke be his change of pace. Is it possible that happens if Zeke comes back, that they just go ahead and start Pollard, or is it too big of egos in Dallas to let that fly?
No, if they're going to play Pollard, they're just going to have Zeke inactive. That's just the way that's going to be. And Pollard at 6,500 is, borderline playable. Again, you have a lot of hard situations, but I mean, that's not where I want to go. Man, I want to go to Miles Sanders. I just, he's disappointed on so many different weeks that this is a smash spot for him. Dallas has had problems with the running back. Jalen Hurts is another guy that I want to play. Like, I don't care that their defense, has seemingly improved to some extent, and their offense looks, I don't know, like these guys belong in the NFL. Bad team, but still belong. But I mean, they gave up 24 points to running backs last week. If I got that from Miles Sanders, that's good at 7,000. They gave up 18 to Cincinnati. These weird dudes who fumbled it like 18 times. Then 31-50. Like, give me Miles Sanders. Give him to me.
Yeah, I have to agree. I love the Philadelphia running game here, and I think Hurts is a good play too against Dallas's defensive line. So I not really interested in any Philadelphia receivers. I don't know. I'm not really interested in Dallas at all either. And Pollard at 6,500, I think is a little high for what he can produce. So yeah, I'll stick with Hurts and Sanders too.
Yeah, Hurts, Sanders, and Gallup, of course.
Yeah, what's Gallup at? Is his salary come up at all, or is he still a good value?
He's at 4,100, so he's still completely playable. So I mean, CeeDee Lamb's at 5,300. Even Amari Cooper's come down to 5,700, and what it really comes down to for me is I almost like Amari Cooper here more than the other two guys at that slight uptick because I just think he has a higher ceiling. I think all these guys can catch a touchdown, but when it comes to CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper's the guy that's going to get 10, 12 targets. Even with Andy Dalton, he's seen as high as 9. He catches all of those. He has a big game. He scores a touchdown. He's the guy that you can get into the high 20s. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, these are guys that, you could see 15, 16, 17, 18-point games, and those are great. Those are fantastic, especially for their price. But that's not going to win you $1 million.
All right.
Fair enough. All right, guys, that was the main slate. Let's touch briefly on the Sunday, Monday games because we're going to. Why not? All right, let's go. Tennessee heading to Green Bay for Sunday night football. I'm excited for this, for a showdown slate. There's a lot of players that you can play and mix and match, and it's going to be kind of fun. Could be one of those ones where I run 20 dime lineups out there. What do you think about that, Chris?
Great. Yeah. Sounds like a good time.
That's right. I like it. What do you like about this game? I mean, Tennessee has been looking dominant. Green Bay has been looking dominant. The winner of this game could very well be playing for home field advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry, Corey Davis, A.J. Brown, Ryan Tannehill, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams,
Jones.
Like, get as many of those guys in your lineup any way that you can. Don't overthink it.
Just an obvious game. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. It really is. It really is. It's just it's obvious. It's just you can't play those guys because of salary constraints. So you've got to get creative and figure out how to do it. Who you're putting in there, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. We'll put some thought into it, and we will talk about that on First Sip, although I believe Chris is going to be missing. But 11 a.m. Sunday morning, 11 to noon, Mark and I will be here talking through the last-minute adjustments to DFS slates. And, any other questions we have, we'll break down the Sunday night game. We'll talk about the Monday night game. And, Chris, you're going to be traveling, aren't you?
Yeah, it's just too bad that you won't have Adam Humphries to play in that slate.
I know. It's so disappointing. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
He was going to be my captain. Shit.
I know, right?
He literally probably would have been dangerous captain.
Oh, dude, without fail. With the other names you're trying to get in there, you got to go low, bro.
You're following my advice. Yeah, I can get behind it.
Yeah, I'd probably just put Ferkster in there instead and figure he'll come out of the slot.
Why not? Why not?
Hey, Smith could get hurt at any minute.
So if you're doing something like that, what you're really hoping is that all of the points are distributed, like they're massed, but they're distributed, so nobody scores more than like 20, 25 points or something like that. Because if one of those guys goes off for like 40 or 45, just the equity that you're going to lose on that 1.5 times is just
too
going to
much.
push out of it.
Yeah. But this is a very big game where they could be very spread out, though, because of the mass talent all the way around. So
I mean, it could be, or you could do something like a Derrick Henry captain. You throw in a little Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams. You put
three scrubs.
One or two scrubs, 3 scrubs, something like that. Just hope it's all through those guys.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it Monday or Sunday morning, Mark. So get into that. And then, of course, the last game here, the Buffalo Bills -7 heading into New England at 45.5. They just can't. They have to be the happiest team in the league that Tom Brady left New England, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, super happy. This team's been a lot of fun to watch. I mean, crazy scores for fantasy-wise. Josh Allen totally has been redeeming himself from the total complete failure at the end of the season last year. Is this team going to make a big playoff run in your mind, Chris?
Yeah, I think there's 3 teams that come out of the AFC. I mean, obvious is Kansas City. I'm not sure anybody beats them, but I think the Browns and this team, Buffalo Bills. I forgot who we were talking about for a second. Just so tired. I pulled the team. I got it. Yeah, I think either of those teams can pose a viable threat to Kansas City. Don't think either of them knock Kansas City off, but I would like personally to see Cleveland play Buffalo to play Kansas City, and then we can just not we don't, and maybe in Tennessee. Those 4 teams, we don't need 7, just those 4 teams. Just put those 4 teams in.
For sure. I'd love to see Cleveland make the Super Bowl, just one more team to get out of the way that have done it before the Lions.
Yeah, no shit.
Mark, you think Buffalo can make a run here? I mean, they're really damn good. I mean, I can see they stack up well against Tennessee. They stack up well against Cleveland. They stack up well enough against Kansas City. I think they're the best team to go after Kansas City, just the way they play ball. But Diggs is hurt. Diggs might not play this week.
Doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love Buffalo. I think they are, other than Kansas City, I think they're the team to beat in the AFC. Yeah. So I'm excited about this game from the standpoint of I just want Buffalo to finally destroy New England. Just put their boot on their throats and just be done with them and go, we won the division.
That's right.
Get out of here.
And this will be the opportunity to 100% ensure the Patriots have a losing record on the year if they win this game.
I love it. Love it.
I love everything about it. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all. We're going to get out of here, but we just keep an eye out at fantasyfootballblueprint.com. Chris is dropping articles daily about esports and LOL while I'm in my basement trying to figure out how to play the game against 12-year-olds. It's a lot of fun. We still have one more week of seasonal left. We've got DFS for, I don't know. We play DFS all the way through the playoffs, so you've got that material. But make sure to check out the special offer. Head over to fantasyfootballblueprint.com. Use promo code D4U when you buy their $27 draft cheat sheet kit for the 2021 NFL season, and you will get the rest of the year's DFS stuff from us for the football playoffs. You'll get Chris's esports for at least a month or so. And check it out there as we transition to Fantasy Sports Blueprint to cover PGA starting, the 7th is the next PGA one, right, Mark?
Yep, 7th. So just after the new year, we'll have a little preview, and I believe Adam White, our resident PGA expert, we're going to have a podcast somewhere around the 5th or the 6th.
I like it. And Mark, I'm going to challenge you, Mark. I want to see you do a what do they call that? A payroll or what is it? I got a buzz. I'm sorry. This is the first time I've had like 4 beers.
I don't know what you're asking. I'd help.
Never mind. I want to challenge you to NHL cash games, and I want to see you build up that pocketbook. Is what I want you to do.
He doesn't want the smoke. He doesn't want it. 64% win rate against Mark. Probably like 12 games, but that's it.
Right? Yeah. You have promised me that you're going to start writing some cash game materials on the NHL again.
Yeah, that's my plan. I'm actually working on a season preview right now. So hopefully I'll have that finished just after Christmas, and we'll publish a DFS preview for the season with all the player moves and your best players to pick up in season long and the early DFS plays.
Fantastic. And I'd also like to do a quick shout out. The Draft for Upside and Fantasy Blueprint team is going to be joined by the sports crew with Lou Landers, Phil Chappie, and
Harold. It's okay, Harold.
Lucas. Okay, Harold. Okay, Harold. Yeah, don't worry, Harold. Don't cry.
It'll be
Don't
all
cry.
right.
But Lucas Berry and Lou Landers and Phil Chappie are going to be joining us, providing baseball content as well for people interested in the baseball offseason. That's going to be swell. And I think Lou wants to do a hockey pod with you as well, buddy.
Yeah, I think we're going to resurrect the Best Pucking podcast.
Such a great name.
It is. It's a cast Lou did last year, the year before. I loved it. I listened to it all the time. Now that we're partnering with them, Lou and I are going to do that. It'll be a once a week kind of video podcast where we preview DFS plays for the week.
I love it. All right, guys. Well, I am Johnny Danger. With me is Brewery Mark and Chris Emmerich. We are Draft for Upside. Find our stuff on Facebook. Find our premium material over at fantasyfootballblueprint.com. You still have time for $27 to buy next year's cheat sheet and get the rest of the premium content for 2020 over there at fantasyfootballblueprint.com using promo code D4U. We will see you at 11 a.m. Sunday morning for First Sip while Mark and I take you through your last minute adjustments for Week 16. Y'all have a good night.